Thank you for tuning in. Sorry, I was late. All these things setting up is always taking some time. But welcome to my live stream. After a very long time, feel at home. You're free to tweet any question below on the thread. And yes, we have come to discover a lot this week. First of all, we had a sitting cabinet secretary, a sitting member of the cabinet, releasing a statement and further going to the police to record another statement saying that on the day Justin Muturi's son was abducted, the next day the father tried to call Ruto, he couldn't find him, and he found his way to State House. He went to State House to inquire about the whereabouts of his son, who had been abducted by people who looked like policemen from the CCTV footage that was released by royal media, by the nearby hotels and residences. And all of those had the hallmarks of a police abduction. And it was coinciding with the period which the Gen Zs were protesting. So the cabinet secretary goes to State House. So you can imagine the other children whose parents don't have that kind of access, that kind of privilege. He goes to State House, waits for Ruto to finish a meeting with the members of parliament, and then now gets Ruto to ask him, where is my son? Like any other parent would. If all the other parents who've had their children abducted, if they had the capacity and the access, they would do the same. Anyone would do the same in that position. So he goes and asks Ruto. Then Ruto tells him, no, my phone has a problem. I don't know whether he bought that phone from Osama Otero, the one who sells stolen cell phones in Imenti House. The state-sponsored traitor. Osama Otero, Kevin Monari, shame on you wherever you are. You are a useless bitch. You sold us out. You're still pushing government agenda. Everyone is telling you you're fucked up and you're still continuing. Shame on you. So I don't know whether that phone, the one that was not working, Ruto had bought from Osama Otero. But anyway, so they say call him directly. So Ruto calls Noordin Haji. And he asks Noordin Haji, do you have Justin Muturi's son? And Noordin Haji says, yes. Can you release him? He will be free in 1 hour. None of the officials who have been mentioned in that statement have come out to deny that. Noordin Haji has not denied. Ruto has not denied. They are just firefighting. They are just playing games here with us, propaganda games. But none of those motherfuckers have denied. None of those cocksuckers have denied. Noordin Haji. Noordin Haji. You can abduct children. You can abduct our children. You can abduct us. Because who the fuck do you think you are? Because you went for some crash courses. You went for some holiday tuition to study Hitler, to study Nazi era domination and subjugation of populations through intelligence tactics. Noordin Haji, if you look at the history of his father was called Mohammed Yusuf Haji. He was a long time provincial commissioner of the Rift Valley province. If you look at the Akiumi report, if you look at the other Truth and Justice report by Justice Kriegler from South Africa, all of them mention adversely Noordin Haji's father. Noordin Haji's father was a perpetrator of war crimes and genocide, forceful eviction, internal displacement. He particularly targeted communities like Kikuyu, like Luhya, like Luo, like Kisii, forcefully evicting them from Rift Valley at the instigation of Daniel Arap Moi. And they even wrote in that paper, in those commissions, that Noordin Haji would do anything to appease his master. He was driven by both hate and his capacity and ability to kiss ass. And Noordin Haji, and we say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Noordin Haji has acquired the genetic mutation of these attributes from his father. These are killers. These are murderers. Noordin Haji was called like this, and he was asked by the president. You know, this is like a fucking movie, man. I don't know why people are not making movies out of this. Like, you go there, you ask, and then the head of intelligence, the director of intelligence says, yes, I have your son. Yes, I have his son. Never had this shit in our lives, man. We didn't know that this is how governments operate. We didn't know that this is the brazenness that they have. The entitlement of wanting our loyalty, our obedience, our subservience. They can go to any length. They can spread fear. They can abduct us. As a victim of an abduction and a cooked case, which I'm sure Noordin Haji is behind, because we have been told he's the overall in the chain of command for abductions. He reports to the president. So you're called, and then you're told, release that son. You will, and in true to it, within 1 hour, Justin Muturi's son was at home. If you guys consume news for the sake of consuming, bro, that's your shit. Me, when I consume, I freak out. I'm thinking, like, who the fuck are these people working in the government? Who the fuck are they? First of all, the national intelligence is supposed to defend our borders from external threats. They are not supposed to be instigating. They are not supposed to be engineering abductions, kidnappings. And this is what they have been doing since time immemorial. These, ladies and gentlemen, these should trigger the biggest unrest in the country. I don't know how we are living in this country. I don't know what the fuck we are doing in this country. If the director of national intelligence can literally abduct somebody, man, I don't know. Aren't you crazy like me? Aren't you going nuts? Noordin Haji. And so we get to the topic of the day. We've been talking about nefarious capital, because at the end of the day, I keep telling you, follow the money. Follow the money. The money will direct you to the real source of the problems. The real source of the problems is this illicit capital, is this nefarious capital, which is circulating in our financial system. They have captured the Kismayu port. They smuggle commodities. They smuggle imported products, which are smuggled in the porous Kenya-Somali border. The border had for long been closed. Who opened it? It is Aden Duale, when he was the Minister of Defense, when he was a Cabinet Secretary of Defense. You see, these guys have targeted specific offices. They wanted to cripple the intelligence. They wanted to cripple the Directorate of Criminal Investigations. They have now Ahmed Isaac Hassan is the chairman of the Independent Police Oversight Authority. We have Marjan Hussein, who is the CEO of Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. We have, who is that other wanker, who is in Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC. So they have literally crippled our electoral system. They have crippled our criminal justice system. And now what do they want to do? What is Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi doing? He wants to cripple the judiciary. Together with Nelson Harvey, at the behest of William Ruto and the nefarious capital that is powering all this state capture, they now want to cripple and capture the judiciary. So yes, we do need reforms in the judiciary. Yes, we do need Mother Karua and court to leave because the Supreme Court has overstayed and they have shown nothing but contempt to the people. They don't serve our interests. They serve vested interests. But it won't be done at the terms of Ahmed Nasir. No. Who the fuck is he? He might be good for ratings for your collapsing media houses like Jeff Koinange Live. You know, he could be good for ratings for such a deadbeat show. Now, for the rest of us, we don't give a fuck about him. We give a fuck about the rule of law. So we have all this. It's called nefarious capital. And the source of this is Kismayu, because they can get product, they can get commodities, which then drive 9 hours through the Somalia terrain, but down into Garissa. And one of the main products that is fueling our oppression, it is sugar. It is sugar. If you don't know, sugar is a drug. Many of you people are addicted to sugar and you don't know. And they know your addiction to sugar. They know you cannot take tea without sugar. They know you cannot drink juice without sugar. They know you cannot do all this shit. So what do you do right now? We cannot be helpless. And I told you this journey will need a lot of sacrifices. As we have been talking about January 27th, where we are going to have a national strike, where nobody will go to work, nobody will open their businesses. There is going to be sacrifices. You have to be ready to sacrifice. You have to be ready to lay your life on the line. And so if we have discovered that sugar, this commodity that is imported through Kismayu, every time it is dumped in the country, there is a high demand of it. Supermarkets are rushing. They don't even want to check traceability, whether it's coming from local millers. They just get sugar, which has been repackaged in godowns, in Mumias, paper bags or whatever, Sony sugar paper bags or gunias. So you have the responsibility of now sacrificing. Are you ready to sacrifice? Are you ready to put Kenya ahead of your parochial interests? I just wrote a tweet there a few moments ago talking about the middle class and the working class. They are raiding your paychecks. You will have to bear the burden of William Ruto's depravity and mental impotence. You will have to underwrite it. They are coming, they are increasing taxes on NSSF. They're increasing everything, income tax, what have you. And they are coming for you, the working class. And when we tell you to join in civil disobedience, in mass movements, you guys are so averse. You guys are so comfortable. You love being oppressed. You love being distracted. You love following nonsensical stories. So we have to be meaningful, we have to be intentional, and we have to move with purpose. And the purpose right now is to go for the head of the snake. The head of the snake is who? It is nefarious capital. They have used their dirty money. They have laundered it in our financial system. They want us. Once they sell all their commodities tax and duty free, they are making astronomical profits, outlandish profits. For every shilling invested, they are getting like 20 shillings back. Because they don't pay taxes, they don't pay good, whatever, everything of theirs. They don't pay security because they use our government's machinery. So we have to look at the source of our problems, and the source of our problems, you will discover it once you follow the money. Once you follow the money, you're going to see that these guys have been very strategic with the people they plant in specific offices, in specific sectors. And they are going step by step, which is now seemingly becoming like a colonization. We are being colonized in our own faces. You are being colonized right now by Somali oligarchs with your silence and acquiescence. In fact, most of you shamelessly have been touting and praising them, that they are good investors. They're not genius investors. What the fuck have they invested? Have they invented? How many patents do they have in the Kenya Intellectual Property Institute? These are thugs. These are thugs. So when we say that we are moving with purpose, when we say that we need to cut down, we need to cut the head of the snake. The head of the snake is the money. Where is the source of the money? It is Kismayu Port. That is the source of all our problems. And it has really undermined even our domestic production capacity, because now they go and influence the laws so that it becomes difficult for us to produce, for us to grow, for us to manufacture, so that we can be susceptible, we can be dependent on the imports that they are flooding in the market. And this country of ours was not built based on imports. It has been built by the blood, sweat, and tears of hardworking Kenyans. People who grow, people who export, people who do anything, who build, who construct. We cannot then submit ourselves to the throes of importation because we have to enrich a bunch of barons, a bunch of oligarchs. We have been raising concern about this thing called alcohol, which is now paradoxical, because during the Uhuru era, Uhuru was on the payroll of these Somali oligarchs. They helped him. Uhuru Kenyatta owed the Somali oligarchs because they staged the Westgate terror attack. They staged the Garissa University attack using those the offshoot, using the anger, using the sadness and sorrow which was propelled by those incidents. The international criminal courts were able to suspend all the physical hearings of William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta. So they were staged. These terrorist attacks were not genuine. If you Google, you're going to see that Kenya ignored advanced intelligence about these attacks. So these attacks were allowed to happen. And guess what? Guess who was in Westgate during the terror attack? It was Noordin Haji's brother. Noordin Haji's brother, who is the Garissa Senator, Abdul Haji. He was in Westgate. There was a camera there filming him. Why was he there? He did not fire a single shot. He did not save anyone. But there was a camera strategically there, which then painted him. Oh, he was the hero of Westgate. There were a wrecker squad there who did the actual dirty work. They are the ones who went floor to floor. And then last minute, just when we were about to finish the operation, they were recalled, they were withdrawn, they were told leave. They were told leave Westgate right now because KDF is coming, and they wanted to extend all those theatrics so that they can buy international goodwill. They can hoodwink the donors. You know, our donors, the Muzungus, are highly excitable. They believe anything. Even they believe Kenya has good governance because they've been cooked for numbers there by the Ministry of Finance. So they needed to hoodwink the International Criminal Court that yes, there is this hostage situation happening, and we have to be there full time. While to be honest, what was happening inside was they were burning mattresses and they were looting from ATM machines and whatnot. So you have to be intentional. We are dealing with people who have no regard for life. I refer you to the Kriegler Commission report, to the Akiumi Commission report, which spoke about Mohammed Yusuf Haji, who is Noordin Haji's father. He was said and he was cited as somebody who has no regard for human life. He's an animal. Now, how do you expect? Do you imagine that an animal can give birth to a human? That somehow Noordin Haji, because he projects professionalism, he projects calmness, you think that he somehow escaped that genetic mutation? He somehow escaped, he somehow sidestepped it. No! Noordin Haji is like his father. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Mtoto wa nyoka ni nyoka. Gimayumaga motuine. Nefarious capital from the Somali oligarchs is causing us a lot of grief. We are being recolonized right in front of our faces, and we are accepting it. We are seeing media there touting them as geniuses. What geniuses are they? Are they anywhere in the value chain? Are they anywhere? Do they grow? Do they produce? Do they manufacture? No. All our productive capital is going to imports. We have killed our sugar sector in the Western province, in the Western belt, because of these imports. Because every day they go and find new laws, new directives which are going to cripple domestic production. So all of this is scripted. All of this is choreographed. And if you don't act right now, you're going to be colonized by Somali oligarchs. Are you ready to be colonized? Our freedom fighters fought so hard against the colonial Mzungu. Now it's happening in real time where we are being colonized by Somali oligarchs. Let's be honest right now. Has Noordin Haji, has Mohammed Amin arrested or abducted anyone from their community? No. Have we seen any noise from their community condemning the abductions? No. Why? Because we are being colonized. You're being colonized without your knowledge. You're being hoodwinked. All of these distractions are coming because you're being colonized. They want control of specific sectors which are going to render our democracy redundant. They have already captured IEBC. They have already captured NIS. They have already captured DCI. They have already captured EACC. They now want to capture the judiciary. What more do we have in our democracy? These are the levers. These are the functions. These are the separation of powers. And all of these have become, they've been infiltrated. They've been infiltrated by the people who are our oppressors. Not their communities, the oligarchs who have vested interests. And I spoke about Russian oligarchs being expunged from the British financial system. If that could happen there, why can't it happen to us? Because we know this money is the one that is being used to capture our government structure. It's the one which is being used to bribe the MPs so as to pass flawed and faulty laws. It is the one which is being used to bribe the judiciary. It is the one which is used to bribe activists so that they can call off, so that because they know William Ruto loves money. William Ruto is a high-grade prostitute. He loves money. If you present money to him, he will take it in the immediate. So they know with him in office, their interests are secured. Then we can kill the domestic economy so that they can leave us dependent on their imports. And from the imports, they can sell, they can determine the cost of our commodities, even our food. They can determine it. Because they have made it difficult to grow food. They have made it difficult to produce, to manufacture. So we are dependent on whatever they import. They get cheap shit from Turkey or China. They come and sell us expensively. They become outrageously and outlandishly rich and fabulously wealthy. They've been using that money. They get Chinese contractors to go and build flats in Kilimani. Kilimani, those flats, they look like human zoos. They look like human zoos. And then you're being sold for that shitty unit for 20, 30 million. You're going to be paying your entire life for a mortgage for a shitty apartment. Because they are laundering their proceeds of crime. They are laundering the money that they have used to corrupt the system, to capture all the levers of power. And they can flow their commodities, they can flow everything, their goods, their imports duty free. That's why they can send all these hoodlums, this Noordin Haji, this Mohammed Amin, their seats were bought. Noordin Haji's seat was bought at 1 billion shilling. You think You think Noordin has that money? No, it's the people who are behind him. They paid that seat on his behalf. Same as Mohammed Amin. And when these people came to arrest me, when they arrest us, they are so angry. You can see they are so invested. I even tried to tell them, I'm going to outbid the person who has sent you to arrest me. They cannot even listen because they have been paid over and above their salaries. They have been incentivized to conduct these abductions, these arrests. So do we sit? Do we just sit and wait to be recolonized again? If you look at the people who are encouraging William Ruto to continue perpetrating all these heinous crimes, all these abductions, you will see it's a select clique of people who are benefiting from the status quo. And who is this? Number one is Farah Malim. Number two is Hassan Joho. Number three, Junet Mohammed. You think it's a coincidence? We are being recolonized as you watch right now. And if you don't move swiftly, if you don't follow my instructions, you're going to find yourselves back where our freedom fighters, our forefathers fought so hard to remove us from. How does the director of national intelligence abduct a son of a sitting cabinet secretary? How? Have you ever had that in your lives? Would it happen in a functional democracy? Would it happen in America? Why do we claim that we have a functional democracy while everything that has happened have all the hallmarks of this is a despotic regime? We are in a one-party state, and we are claiming that we have democracy because we have a few very media idiots here saying that we have free media, but there is no free media. If you look at what is written on the Nation is what is written on the Standard. If you watch news, you flip the channels, it's the same crap. So do we really have an independent media? No, that's why they are so threatened by social media, because every day we are telling the truth. Every day we are overcoming all the boundaries they have erected for us to stem the flow of information. We are now talking to the people who they've been lying to, who are the foreign their foreign masters, the foreign diplomats. We are talking to them directly, and we are telling them, like now the king and queen of Netherlands don't visit Kenya. They will try and dissuade and purport that we are not getting anywhere, but we are gaining ground every day. And I can tell you for free, the king and queen of Netherlands will not come to Kenya. The noise that we are making every day. Don't relent. You people, you are even the least. We are not asking for your fucking money. You gave your fucking money to Hanifa. You gave your fucking money to Morara because you're stupid idiots. You undermined our democracy by being distracted to those clowns, those jokers. You made our work because of your inherent stupidity. You made our work so difficult. And even now we are telling you, we don't want your fucking money. We just want you to retweet. We just want you to tweet. We just want you when you say send an email. And that seems like a tall order because you guys, you're like silly, petulant brats. You think you know what is happening. You have no clue what is happening. You have no clue what you have set us up for. Because of your stupidity. Because of your penchant for big distractions and sideshows and lies. You spent like 3 months there following Morara, taking you on a wild goose chase of nonsense while your country is being colonized. Your fucking country is being colonized. Your fucking country is being colonized. So this is what we are going to do. Listen here, you fucking assholes. Listen here. This is what we are going to do. We are going to start soft and then we are going to grow. First of all, don't forget on 27th of January, we are having a national strike. National strike is not going to work, no opening your business, no taking your kids to school. That is our first step of civil disobedience because we have to choke the money in circulation so that we hemorrhage resources from the government that is continuing to oppress us. So 27th of January, I don't want to repeat this shit again. There is no work. We are having a national strike. TikTokers, I don't know, the people who make the flyers and everything. Where are you? You haven't made any flyers for January 27th. We are having a national strike. We don't want you to appear on any protest. Please stay at home. Your work is just tweeting that day on 27th of January. Your work is just to tweet. Your work is just to retweet any conscious content. Number 2, we are going to get to the Somali oligarchs and the nefarious capital that has infected our financial system. So number 2, one of the commodities that they ride on is sugar, because they import it through the Kismayu port. It checks into Kenya duty free, and so they make outlandish profits. So number 2, you will start reducing your sugar intake. You won't die if you don't take sugar. And by reducing your sugar intake, I'm not telling you now you go and buy those fruit juices. They're healthy. No, they have a lot of sugar. So no fruit juice too. Understand? Now we start reducing our sugar intake. The physical sugar and products that have been manufactured with sugar. If you take beer, find another alternative to get high. Because all these products have been made with sugar, sugar which has been imported, sugar which is behind our oppression. So, no sugar. Reduce your intake of sugar. Number 1, you're going to be healthier. Number 2, you're going to be overall helping the movement, because the movement now, we are slowly isolating the source, the head of the snake. And the head of the snake is nefarious capital. They are the ones who profit from William Ruto's continued stay in power. They are the ones who are fighting. They are the ones who have dispatched Noordin, Haji, and Mohammed Amin to abduct us. You should not take that lightly. You should not take the statement made by Justice Muturi lightly. This is happening. This is real life. I have experienced it. I'm not speaking as an innocent bystander. I'm not a spectator. I've been in it. So you reduce your sugar intake. Are we together? If you're a tea person, stop using sugar. If your children must use, then okay. If your children must eat sugar, that's okay. But reduce your sugar intake or eliminate it in its entirety. So no more buying sugar. No more buying sugar. No more buying any products which have been made with sugar. No more buying sugar, because sugar is the cause of our oppression. Sugar is the cause of our continued abduction. The kids who are still missing are missing because of sugar. Because the people who import, the barons, the Somali oligarchs, want to maintain the status quo. They want Ruto to remain in power, and so they will go at any length. They will abduct. They will forcefully disappear. They will kill. They will dump bodies in acid. Because they know that William Ruto is the source of their wealth. And if William Ruto goes and we have good governance, we are going to revive our sugar milling industries. We are going to revive Mumias. We are going to revive Sony. We are going to revive all our sugar millers which have been deliberately destroyed, so that we can sustain the business interests of these Somali oligarchs who now want to even colonize us. They want to capture all the levers of power in the country. They have already captured the Independence Electoral and Boundaries Commission. They have captured the National Intelligence Service. They have captured the Directorate of Criminal Investigation. They have captured the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. These are the Somali oligarchs, not the Somalis. These are the people who have an interest in bending the processes and systems so that they can benefit them, so that their import businesses can thrive and their operations can multiply. And they need our money. They need our acquiescence. They need our compliance. So that's why I'm telling you, the first step is don't start reducing. I don't care whether we have Sony sugar. I don't care. For now, we are fighting, all of us. And right now, these guys import sugar. They take it to their go-downs. They go and repackage it with local, and it's in the media. Just go and Google, because many of you are stupid. You don't even Googling is such a tall order because you're stupid. All you just think about is watching EPL and watching Formula 1. You're stupid. You're thick. And then you are so you're airheads. You can't be told anything. You're like those stupid kids like Kimuzi Those guys, they think they are the shit. You see Kimuzi tweeting, you think that he's invented. He has patents everywhere. Doesn't know anything. Pretends that he's knowledgeable. He's just a fucking sellout. So, I know many of you, you're like Caliph Cairo. We used to tell Caliph Cairo, stop doing this, stop posting your shit. Nobody gives a fuck about where you're traveling. Nobody gives a fuck about the bitches you're fucking. But you are still doing it. Because ujana na nini, kiburi. You have to tame that shit. You have to tame that shit. You have to learn how to listen. Because you guys don't know. You guys don't know what's happening. You guys think this is a joke. So if it's alcohol, if it's beer, whatever, you know. If it's soda, all of these are products which are made by sugar. Stop taking them in the interim, please. No more buying sugar. If it's bread with sugar, now start making your own bread, or start making your own pancakes, or start making your own whatever. No more buying bread, because bread is manufactured with sugar also. No more buying those cakes you buy in the supermarkets. No more what? And we don't know whether this is Sunny sugar. We don't know. We don't care. We are just taking measures on ourselves, protecting ourselves, shielding ourselves, because this sugar has become the cause of our oppression. This sugar has become the cause of our continued destruction as a country, undermining our democracy, capturing our state organs. Government officials do not think, they do not even want to serve the people. They want to serve these vested interests. So what do? We are left with no choice but to also enforce our own measure of civic disobedience. So no more taking sugar. TikTokers, if you're there, I want you to capture this. Number one, in our move to reestablish dominance of our nation, to recalibrate the current state of affairs where we are being colonized by Somali oligarchs. Right now, we are not going to consume sugar. It can be immediate, it can be gradual, depending on how many people you are in the house. But if you're a bachelor right now, you don't need to buy sugar anymore. No more buying sugar. Simple. Whether it's written Mumias, these guys go and repackage sugar that they have imported from God knows where, and they put those papers. So please, and they do it with the compliance, with the knowledge of the security agencies, with cabs. Everyone is on board. So no more taking sugar. Hakuna kukula sukari. If you don't hear English, you motherfuckers. Don't buy sugar. Don't buy msinunue sukari. No more buying sugar. Number two, what do they do with these nefarious capitals that they launder in our financial system? They have targeted the key sectors. Number one, real estate sector. You'll see corrupt journalists being bribed to write, oh, the real estate sector is booming. The real estate sector is booming. It's not booming. It's these guys who are manufacturing, creating a semblance of boom so that they can artificially inflate the price of real estate. If you see how much apartments cost in Nairobi and how much houses cost in Johannesburg, the cost of an apartment in Nairobi, those shitty apartments which have been built with Somali oligarchs' money, and the cost of a house in Johannesburg, a house in an estate that resembles Muthaiga, a house with a pool, with everything, costs the same as an apartment, a shitty 2-bedroom apartment in Kilimani. And they do all this, they bribe the journalists to cook all these delusions of grandeur, to hoodwink you, to take mortgages. You're going to be paying for the rest of your life for a shitty investment which has been cooked by cooking the variations of and the values of the land and real estate in the country. They are used to this narrative. So there is no more. Please, anywhere where you see a Somali oligarch who has built those fantabulous investments and they hide. Yeah? They hide behind, they hide behind Chinese contractors. So you're going to see the Chinese contractors, but it's nefarious capital which is behind them. So you're not going to rent those houses. You're not going to buy them. Number three, another industry they've infiltrated is the fuel. That's why you'll notice Kenya Sugar Board, they want to increase the sugar levy by 4%. The fuel was increased this month. Who do you think is behind this state capture? Can't you connect 2 and 2 together? Who is now buying all the gas stations in the country? It is nefarious capital from Somali oligarchs. So if you see a petrol station that is owned by somebody who is unknown or whatever, you know them. The gas stations, you know them. They are being built every day. They're becoming like spectacular malls in a supermarket, in a gas station. So you know them. Stop fueling your cars there. Because the state has been unable to stem the flow of illicit money in our financial system, you have to do it yourselves. You have to sacrifice. You have to take these steps. If you want us to march into a new Kenya, if you want us to disentangle ourselves from this modern day colonialism that is happening in real time, that the director of national intelligence is the one who is engineering and orchestrating abductions. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? This is a country. So number 1, no consuming sugar until further notice. No consuming sugar, no buying sugar. If you can import your own sugar from a different country, well and good, if you must. But right now, any sugar that is in circulation in this country, please do not buy. Because that sugar is bringing pain and consternation to us. It is forcing us to be recolonized. So no consuming sugar. It is good for your health, number 1. And number 2, you'll be saving the country. Number 2 is, we are talking about the real estate sector. Anywhere where you see a Chinese, probably it is nefarious capital behind them. It is Somali oligarchs who are there, trust me. So no buying those apartments, no renting them, no turning them into Airbnbs. I know you're desperate, you think that you're going to make it alone, but we are moving together. If you think that now you're going to have your own Airbnb, there won't be any customers for that Airbnb. If indeed Somali oligarchs are the ones who are fueling and powering and thrusting these abductions so as to maintain William Ruto in power. So, number 2, it is the real estate. Number 3, it is the fuel. They have captured, they have gas stations, they are even hiding behind these big names like Total and Shell. They even have their own Haas Petroleum and other independent fuel dealers. They have them, so you are supposed to boycott. Because we are being recolonized. That's good for starters. Do away with sugar. Don't consume sugar. Stay away from sugar. If it's alcohol that you must drink, find alcoholic ways of getting high without consuming the beer which has sugar. Right now, we don't know which is which. We don't know which sugar is which sugar. We don't know whether it's Sony sugar or Mumia's sugar. We don't know, or Cabra's sugar, God knows what. But all we know is that our domestic production capacity has been undermined by these imports. Sugar is a drug, if you didn't know. Sugar is a lucrative drug. By controlling that sugar, you will be enabling, you will be facilitating your continued oppression. You will be enabling our continued colonization. No more consuming Mera and Jabba to the stupid young boys who are consuming that. While we sympathize with the farmers and everything, we know that the people who make the actual profit, by the time it leaves Embu or Meru and gets to Nairobi, the price has multiplied by 5 or 10-fold. So the people who are profiting are the ones in the value chain. So this is it. We have the sooner that people start feeling the pinch, the sooner that you will want to take action, and the action will be to now get rid of William Ruto once and for all, so that everything can set itself up. We can achieve some level of recalibration of our financial and governance system. But right now we cannot. So we have to take the painful measures. And I told you it will come with a lot of sacrifice. Are you ready to sacrifice? Will you die without taking sugar for a week or two? Will you die? I'm telling you, anytime you go to that supermarket, you look at that packet of sugar, that is the cause of your oppression. We've had very many instances. I think you saw when there was a boycott of diamonds from Sierra Leone and led all of that activism. Even Kanye West did a song, Diamonds from Sierra Leone. All that activism led to the eventual capture of who? Charles Taylor. Because people said we are boycotting diamonds. We are boycotting this product because it is used for child labor. It is used to oppress the people of Sierra Leone. They used to be told long-sleeved or short-sleeved. You're being told long-sleeved or short-sleeved. How do you want us to chop your hand? So they either chop the wrist or they chop here. So they used to say long-sleeved or short-sleeved. People, activists, and it was in the 90s. They went out of their way to, educate people. In the 2000s, to educate people that this is what is happening on the ground. It's the same thing. We are educating each other. And I'm telling you right now that sugar, the commodity that you love, the one that you want to make cake with or to make drinks with or whatever, it is the cause of your oppression. It is the one driving you to the second wave of colonization. Are you continuing to fund your own oppression? I don't doubt your collective stupidity, by the way. You sent Hanifa a lot of money while she was sleeping with the oppressor. You sent her money. You are literally funding and demobilizing the revolution because of your obsession that she was talking nicely or she was what? You don't want to look facts. You want to be blinded by optics. So I don't doubt your collective stupidity. I'm speaking to the 10% who will hear me. And probably that will be significant enough. These are small measures which will go a long way into emancipating us as a people so that we can delink ourselves from the state capture that is continuing right now. Since when have you ever had a child of a cabinet minister who has been abducted by the security agents? And you think it's business as usual? And you are there, you're just an ordinary hoi polloi, and you think that you are safe? You think that, do you have a father who can go to State House and ask Ruto to have your child released? No. This is a time when you're supposed to accelerate. This is a time that you're supposed to get your civic education up. You're supposed to be joining with people, finding ways of mobilizing so that we can bring this system down. So, we have agreed. Hakuna kununua sukari. No buying, no renting, all those high rises which are coming up in Kilimani, in South Sea, in Isli, no doing that. Because they need our money. Uhuru Kenyatta, the biggest piece of shit, the biggest asshole. Uhuru Kenyatta has killed more Kenyans than Al-Shabaab. And then today, without any honor or shame, he stands there and says, Ati Gen Z, it's your time to fight for your rights. The guy left the country with 9 trillion in debt. He's the one. The stadiums, the money that was that was chopped, the money that was stolen, the money that was embezzled, that was supposed to build stadiums was done during the Uhuru era. Why does he think now that he can speak to us? Who the fuck does he think to is? Uhuru Kenyatta, can you just stay in Gatondo and Ishaweri? Go and wank there, you bastard. Uhuru Kenyatta is the one who staged the Westgate terror attack. He's the one who staged the Garissa terror attack. He's the one who burnt Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. For what? Just so that we can, his cases, his ICC cases can be meddled with, so that he can undermine the rule of law in his ICC cases. And then now today at a funeral, drunk as fuck, says, oh, Gen Z, I'm even telling Gena, stand for your right. Fuck you, man. All the laws that William Ruto is using to oppress us, those Section 22, one of the Cyber Crimes Act, the ones that Mohammed Amin and his goons are using to instigate court cases for us with corrupt magistrates. All those were passed in 2017 when Uhuru Kenyatta was the president. So William Ruto is only extending your lunacy, your depravity, your mental impotence, your ohe. Hey, at Gen Z, it's your time to rise. You are the one who has brought us here. You brought us Ruto. Nobody gave a fuck about Ruto. Ruto was just another pariah. He was just another opposition politician who was just another killer, another warmonger, another genocidal prick. You're the one who sold him in Mount Kenya. You're the one who polished him. You got him with your fucked up poacher mother. You prayed for him in Gatondo and you did an oath. So we would not have, William Ruto is a creation of Uhuru Kenyatta. What you should be doing when you appear in public, you should be apologizing. You should be telling people, I'm sorry, I did not know this guy was a crook like this. But don't come and trying to insinuate ourselves in the movement, trying to say that you're part of us. You're a motherfucker. Gen Z, I'm also telling Gena. Fuck you. What are you telling Gena? Gena has wealth beyond measure. Why would she go for protests? Fight for your rights. You are the one who has actively undermined the 2010 constitution every time you are undermining it, trying to meddle, trying to add all these clauses and everything which would allow you to continue ruling. So you are the author, you are the orchestrator of our misfortune. Uhuru Kenyatta, shut the fuck up. Now, the paradoxical happenings of the Uhuru era are the ones that are going to shock you. Uhuru was on the payroll of this nefarious capital from Somali oligarchs. They told him, we need to acquire all of CBD. We need to gentrify Nairobi Central Business District. So we need to kill it. We need to stem the flow of numbers into the Nairobi economy. So what do? Let's come up with something called Alcoblo. Alcoblo, if you see, it is erected in all the key entries and arteries which are entering Nairobi. It's either in Uhuru Highway, it's either in Parklands, it's either at Globe Cinema roundabout, it's either on the other side of Mombasa Road, it's either on the other side of Langata Road. All of these is to send people from coming in and going out. And so all the night clubs that used to be in Nairobi, which had employed our young people, all of them died. All the hotels, all the restaurants, now they are owned by Somali oligarchs. Somebody just drew my attention to Beirut restaurant, which is in next to Jamia Mosque. Please boycott Beirut restaurant, which is next to Jamia Mosque. It is owned by Farah Malim. Farah Malim is the one who called for the killings of Gen Z. He spoke that in front of William Ruto, and William Ruto was silent. He did not reprimand him, so it means that these people are together. Farah Malim is an associate, is an agent of nefarious capital of Somali oligarchs. Please boycott Beirut restaurant in CBD. So what did they do? They erected Alcoblo. All the bars were closed. And now Uhuru now involved the religious leaders and Mount Kenya leaders, and then they waged this war on alcohol, but it was not for the good of the country because, first of all, Uhuru Kenyatta is a functional alcoholic and chain-smoking piece of shit. Why would he care that people are drinking while he himself, even today, in that church, if you saw him, he was looking drunk. So please, this is how your oppression began. They brought alcohol. Many of you, sanctimonious and self-righteous pieces of shit, like former Alfred Mutua's wife, Lilian Nganga, telling us, trying to lecture us. Lilian Nganga, who the fuck are you lecturing? Unaona kama tunakula kwako. Lilian Nganga, shut the fuck up when you open your mouth. You're telling us, please, when you're passing a message, you have to use decorum. Who the fuck are you to tell us how we are going to address our oppressor? Shouldn't you be more concerned about the crimes that are being perpetrated by these people? Shouldn't you be concerned about the abductions, the enforced disappearances, the extrajudicial killing? You are more concerned about the language. Who the fuck do you think you are? Lilian Nganga! Wewe! You need to shut the fuck up! The fuck do you think you are? You've been quiet. You've never condemned all those killings and all those happenings, and then you suddenly open your mouth to try and lecture us. Unatulecture kama nani? Unaona kama sisi ni watoto wako? Umbwa wewe. You think we live off your money? You think we live off your ex-husband's money? Now, if you've gotten into a deal with your ex-husband to try and antagonize us, please understand, we are in a new era. This is our last warning, Lilian Nganga. We are going to give you the treatment that we've been giving the politicians. We are going to get your number. We are going to know your home. Please, this is the last warning. If you tweet like that, I will lie. Tweet like that again. Tweet like that again, Lilian Nganga. Fucking asshole. Tired of you people. Over and above committing and perpetrating all these heinous crimes, you are dispatching lackeys like Lilian Nganga to come and antagonize me, telling me how to tweet, telling me how to address my oppressor. I address my oppressor the way I want. If I want to curse from morning till evening, I will do so because you're not paying for my fucking bundles. You do that again, Lilian Nganga uone. Do it. Kama unafikiri Mutua atakusaidia, hebu fanya hivyo tena. Throw such a tweet again. Uone. Metochokesha huku. We cannot. You're trying to police language. You're trying to bring respectability politics in front of terrorists, in front of mass murderers, in front of genocidal pricks. You want us to address them with decorum? Are you fucked in the head? Tupe heshima wewe mama, utatupatia heshima. Utatupatia heshima wewe, tukuli kwako. Motherfucker. So they erected all these alcoblos, which then stemmed the flow of people into CBD. All the bars were closed. There was one time I did an audit. We had over 200 bars which were closed, and restaurants. All of them suddenly became restaurants of Somalis. But we are not targeting the culture or the community. We know all this money has a source. We know the vast majority of that community lives in abject poverty. We know the northern frontier districts, NFDs, Bilokero, Bilokero cannot challenge me because I have his tweet where he counted and he analyzed all the money that has gone to the NFD counties, northern frontier counties. And not a single development project can be shown from those counties. Everything that they can show has been done by the national government. If it's the Moyale Road, has been done by Kibaki. They know I have done all of these. Bilokero, you cannot talk in my presence, Bilokero. Because me, I was silent. You guys just saw me the other day, but I used to monitor all your shit. I know everything that you have done. So, please, I've seen people there. I saw another wanker there when I was talking about Somali oligarchs. Comes there and says, you are talking, sasa wewe unauza power bank isili. Are you an oligarch? Wacha kujichocha. Wacha kujipandisha kwa kitanda na viatu. Sa Kikuyu saying, tika kwe haishia orere na irato. Wacha kujipandisha. Wewe uko chini. I want the big fish. Where you? Wacha kujichocha ati wewe umechora makatoons hapo saying blah blah blah. No, as we are patriots. Perhaps you don't know anything about patriotism. You've never fought for anything in your life. As we know, we have traveled to all the countries in Africa. We know what we are fighting for. We know what we have. We know what we risk losing. And we know where we want to be within the next 5 and 10 years. Because we don't want our children and our grandchildren to come and one day, like the way we are always trolling boomers. We are always trolling boomers because boomers are full of shit. They are the ones who brought us all this nonsense. They are the ones who brought us Uhuru. If you saw the Kikuyu Council of Elders, they were saying that Uhuru, he has been anointed. He was written about by Mogo Akefiro. Mogo Akefiro had already predicted, I don't know, the Mogumo tree has fallen in Nyeri, so Uhuru will be the president. It came from the elders. It came from the boomers. The boomers and the Gen Xs, you're stupid. You're idiots. You're the ones who brought us in the problems. We are trying to fix the mess that you created. You motherfuckers. Fucking assholes. You're the ones who brought us Uhuru and Ruto. We are fixing your mess. So there was no flow of people into the CBD because of Alcoblo. Alcoblo was, it was an undertaking of Somali oligarchs because they wanted to capture all of CBD. Now, all the bars we used to love going during our childhood and teenage years, all of them have become Somali restaurants. Please understand, we are not about the community, we are about the oligarchs. Because even Somalis who go to those Somali restaurants, they are not given food for free. Kwa hivyo muniachishe umafi. So it was a slow gentrification whereby now people started selling properties, being kicked out of CBD, and this is how colonization looks. This is it. So anytime you see an Alcoblo post, anytime you see an Alcoblo roadblock, you're supposed to be thinking of how you're going to ban those guys, that roadblock, remove it forcefully. Because it is an extension of our colonization. It is part of it. It started there. And so Uhuru had been paid by Somali oligarchs to kill CBD, where now all the hotels, even the Intercontinentals, Hilton, they collapsed. 680 hotels, they collapsed. They used to be 5-star hotels. They used to attract tourism. They used to create jobs. All of this was deliberate and premeditated. And then Uhuru has, without any honor or shame, can stand there and say, Gen Z, fight for your rights. What rights? You're the one who has actively undermined the constitution ever since you got into office. Fucking asshole Uhuru, stay in fucking Ishaweru. We don't want to see you, man. Anytime I see you, I feel like throwing up, motherfucker. Uhuru bana. If I see you one time, I'm gonna punch the shit out of you. You disgust me, man. If there's anyone who disgusts me in this fucking country, is Uhuru Kenyatta, man. The day I'm going to see you, man, I'm gonna punch the shit out of you, man. I swear, Uhuru. So, through Alcoblo, they stemmed the flow of humans into CBD. All the hotels and restaurants, they started lacking customers. That's why Nairobi, by 7 p.m., 8 p.m., it's dead. Why? Because the Somali oligarchs want to replicate the sadness and the sorrow that is in the northern frontier districts. If you go there, it's almost like a curfew. From 7 p.m., there's no life in Wajir, in Ijara, in Dadaab, in all those shithole places that they come from. That's now what Nairobi has become. Nairobi from CBD, from 7 p.m., you're being accosted by thugs. Previously, Nairobi was a hub of activity. It was booming. At night, that's when the life had started. So we have become Nairobi. These guys have extended and have transferred their misery. They want us to become miserable like them. They want Nairobi to be dead like Garissa. Garissa, after 7 p.m., you cannot go, you cannot move. Because they have also funded the terrorists to keep people in a constant state of fear. So you are indoors. And now that's what Nairobi has become. And they have weaponized the alcohol blow. That's why I'm telling you, colonization has taken place. But it was not an immediate, it was not an instantaneous process. It has been it was started during the Uhuru Kenyatta era. Because Uhuru Kenyatta owed them. Because they staged all these terror attacks so that they can meddle with the ICC cases. They can delay them, and eventually those cases collapse because of all these shenanigans that these guys were doing. Banning JKIA, the Westgate terror attack, the Garissa University terror attack. It became too much until even the judges saw, I think you guys should not be coming here. You have problems there. When Uhuru Kenyatta went to see Donald Trump, he was just talking about, we are in a hostile neighborhood, and all these guys, you know who the people, all these Al-Shabaab. The Al-Shabaab is a creation of Somali oligarchs in conjunction with Kenyan politicians, so that they can be weaponized when it's necessary. When the heat is too much, they can activate them. You'll see very many journalists and articles have been written saying that when they want to deflect pressure, or when they have ever wanted, until we started calling them out, what they used to do is they used to stage a terror attack. And so we forget the crisis that we were talking about. Now we are speaking about terrorism. Now we started calling them out when we realized, oh my God, Aden Duale is connected to Al-Shabaab. They are the ones who stage these terror attacks. So that they can now go to the foreign powers and tell them, oh, we need military funding, we need support. So they want Kenya to become a shithole county. They want Nairobi to become a shithole county like where they come from. Where they have received the northern frontier districts ever since the advent of devolution have received over 2 trillion Kenya shillings without nothing to show. No road, no borehole, no nothing. But when they open their mouths, oh, Akikuyu, oh, Nini, how and your Nini, when they open their mouths, but they have received that money whether you like it or not. In both devolution funding and CDF funding. They have not done anything. All those guys do is come to set standards here in Nairobi. They buy the latest V8s. They buy the latest apartments. They invest in the biggest businesses. So that's why I'm telling you, if you choke the money to the nefarious capital. You know their restaurants. You don't need to hide. The restaurants, Java is one of them. Art Cafe is one of them. These other one, Kilimanjaro, all of these other ones, I forget them because I don't go there myself. I don't go to fund my oppressors. I started studying this shit a long time ago. Just because you're seeing me talking about it now, it doesn't mean that I started talking about it today, that I just stumbled on this. I've been studying this shit. Choke their money, and your oppression will become a distant memory, become a thing of the past. Stop going to their restaurants. Stop going to their gas stations. Stop buying sugar. And then we proceed. Can you stop taking sugar for 1 week and then we take stock? Is it insanely impossible for you to do away with sugar? Will you die if you don't take sugar? Is sugar like a life-prolonging drug that you have to continue consuming? No. Do away with sugar. You're hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. You're fixing your health, and you're also fixing our country. 27th January is a national strike. 27th of January is a national strike. No school, no what, no opening your shops or anything. Orere na irato. Wacha kujipandisha. Wewe uko chini. I want the big fish. Where you? Wacha kujichocha ati wewe umechora makatoons hapo saying blah blah blah. No, as we are patriots. Perhaps you don't know anything about patriotism. You've never fought for anything in your life. As we know, we have traveled to all the countries in Africa. We know what we are fighting for. We know what we have. We know what we risk losing. And we know where we want to be within the next 5 and 10 years. Because we don't want our children and our grandchildren to come and one day, like the way we are always trolling boomers, We are always trolling boomers because boomers are full of shit. They are the ones who brought us all this nonsense. They are the ones who brought us Uhuru. If you saw the Kikuyu Council of Elders, they were saying that Uhuru, he has been anointed. He was written about by Mogo Akefiro. Mogo Akefiro had already predicted, oh, I don't know, the Mogumo tree has fallen in Nyeri, so Uhuru will be the president. It came from the elders. It came from the boomers. The boomers and the Gen Xs, you're stupid. You're idiots. You're the ones who brought us in the problems. You're trying to fix the mess that you created. You motherfuckers. Fucking assholes. You're the ones who brought us Uhuru and Ruto. We are fixing your mess. So there was no flow of people into the CBD because of Alcoblo. Alcoblo was it was an undertaking of Somali oligarchs because they wanted to capture all of CBD. Now, all the bars we used to love going during our childhood and teenage years, all of them have become Somali restaurants. Please understand, we are not about the community, we are about the oligarchs. Because even Somalis who go to those Somali restaurants, they are not given food for free. Kwa hivyo muniachishe umafi. So it was a slow gentrification whereby now people started selling properties, being kicked out of CBD, and this is how colonization looks. This is it. So anytime you see an Alcoblo post, anytime you see an Alcoblo roadblock, you're supposed to be thinking of how you're going to ban those guys, that roadblock, remove it forcefully. Because it is an extension of our colonization. It is part of it. It started there. And so Uhuru had been paid by Somali oligarchs to kill CBD, where now all the hotels, even the Intercontinentals, Hilton, they collapsed. 680 hotels, they collapsed. They used to be 5-star hotels. They used to attract tourism. They used to create jobs. All of this was deliberate and premeditated. And then Uhuru has, without any honor or shame, can stand there and say, oh, Gen Z, fight for your rights. What rights? You're the one who has actively undermined the constitution ever since you got into office. Fucking asshole Uhuru, stay in fucking Ishaweru. We don't want to see you, man. Anytime I see you, I feel like throwing up, motherfucker. Uhuru bana. If I see you one time, I'm gonna punch the shit out of you. You disgust me, man. If there's anyone who disgusts me in this fucking country, is Uhuru Kenyatta, man. The day I'm going to see you, man, I'm gonna punch the shit out of you, man. I swear, Uhuru. So, through Alcoblo, they stemmed the flow of humans into CBD. All the hotels and restaurants, they started lacking customers. That's why Nairobi, by 7 p.m., 8 p.m., it's dead. Why? Because the Somali oligarchs want to replicate the sadness and the sorrow that is in the northern frontier districts. If you go there, it's almost like a curfew. From 7 p.m., there's no life in Wajir, in Ijara, in Dadaab, in all those shithole places that they come from. That's now what Nairobi has become. Nairobi from CBD, from 7 p.m., you're being accosted by thugs. Previously, Nairobi was a hub of activity. It was booming. At night, that's when the life had started. So we have become Nairobi. These guys have extended and have transferred their misery. They want us to become miserable like them. They want Nairobi to be dead like Garissa. Garissa, after 7 p.m., you cannot go, you cannot move. Because they have also funded the terrorists to keep people in a constant state of fear. So you are indoors. And now that's what Nairobi has become. And they have weaponized the Alcoblo. That's why I'm telling you, colonization has taken place. But it was not an immediate, it was not an instantaneous process. It has been it was started during the Uhuru Kenyatta era. Because Uhuru Kenyatta owed them. Because they staged all these terror attacks so that they can meddle with the ICC cases. They can delay them, and eventually those cases collapse because of all these shenanigans that these guys were doing. Banning JKIA, the Westgate terror attack, the Garissa University terror attack. I mean, it became too much until even the judges saw, I think you guys should not be coming here. You have problems there. When Uhuru Kenyatta went to see Donald Trump, he was just talking about, oh, we are in a hostile neighborhood, and all these guys, you know who the people, all these Al-Shabaab. The Al-Shabaab is a creation of Somali oligarchs in conjunction with Kenyan politicians, so that they can be weaponized when it's necessary. When the heat is too much, they can activate them. You'll see very many journalists and articles have been written saying that when they want to deflect pressure, or when they have ever wanted, until we started calling them out, what they used to do is they used to stage a terror attack. And so we forget the crisis that we were talking about. Now we are speaking about terrorism. Now we started calling them out when we realized, oh my God, Aden Duale is connected to Al-Shabaab. They are the ones who stage these terror attacks. So that they can now go to the foreign powers and tell them, oh, we need military funding, we need support. So they want Kenya to become a shithole county, they want Nairobi to become a shithole county like where they come from, where they have received the northern frontier districts ever since the advent of devolution have received over 2 trillion Kenya shillings without nothing to show. No road, no borehole, no nothing. But when they open their mouths, oh, Akikuyu, oh, Nini, how and your Nini, when they open their mouths, but they have received that money whether you like it or not. In both devolution funding and CDF funding. They have not done anything. All those guys do is come to set standards here in Nairobi. They buy the latest V8s. They buy the latest apartments. They invest in the biggest businesses. So that's why I'm telling you, if you choke the money to the nefarious capital. You know their restaurants. You don't need to hide. The restaurants, Java is one of them. Art Cafe is one of them. These other one, Kilimanjaro, all of these other ones, I forget them because I don't go there myself. I don't go to fund my oppressors. I started studying this shit a long time ago. Just because you're seeing me talking about it now, it doesn't mean that I started talking about it today, that I just stumbled on this. I've been studying this shit. Choke their money, and your oppression will become a distant memory, become a thing of the past. Stop going to their restaurants. Stop going to their gas stations. Stop buying sugar. And then we proceed. Can you stop taking sugar for 1 week and then we take stock? Is it insanely impossible for you to do away with sugar? Will you die if you don't take sugar? Is sugar like a life-prolonging drug that you have to continue consuming? No. Do away with sugar. You're hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. You're fixing your health, and you're also fixing our country. 27th January is a national strike. 27th of January is a national strike. No school, no opening your shops or anything. Let us see. We are trying every strategy because don't forget they have made it impossible for us to protest. They have bought all the leading influencers. They bought Boniface Mwangi. So we are being held hostage by Boniface Mwangi because he is saying, you cannot protest without my participation. So we have to bow down to him and we have to pay him. Why do we have to pay him? Everyone is an influencer right now. You who is sending an email, you who is signing a petition, you who is sharing conscious content, you are part of the process. We don't have to lay all our eggs in one basket. We don't have to submit to these influencers who are then trading off our goodwill. They are going to cash it so they can get money. You don't need them. You are the influencer with your 10 followers, with your 100 followers. You are as important. We need you now. So flex your muscle, flex your social media capital, flex your financial capital. You will boycott the sugar. Stop consuming sugar. Sugar is one of the biggest cause of our oppression. Sugar is the one which is funding and fueling all these illicit activities, all of these state capture, all of these abductions perpetrated by Noordin Haji, by Mohammed Amin. It is happening because they need to secure their interests. They know once William Ruto goes, we are going to have a semblance. We are going to have probably not a semblance. We are going to even have good governance for the first time ever. since independence. Because don't forget, even Jomo Kenyatta was a poser. Jomo Kenyatta was an imposer, was an imposter. He was never a freedom fighter. He was there to secure colonial interests, to entrench post-independence colonial dominance. So we've never really had independence, and maybe it is coming. And these oligarchs, these thugs, they can see, they can feel that if Ruto goes, then our business interests stand to lose. We are at risk. We need to maintain dominance. So what do? Let's weaponize the National Intelligence Service and the Directorate of Criminal Investigation to crack down on dissenters so that we can allow William Ruto to continue ruling. So you are dealing with oligarchs who are ready to kill you. You're funding them with your money. It's your money that is doing all of this. So stem the money, and I've told you this is not new. It has been done elsewhere, and I've given an example of the diamonds of Sierra Leone. Once people were drawn their attention that the diamonds are the ones which are fueling conflict in West Africa, in Sierra Leone, in Liberia. They started boycotting purchasing of diamonds, and that led to reforms. Now all the diamonds in the world have to be traceable, that you got them from this mine. It's the same. We are going to enforce traceability on sugar so that we know that this sugar is directly from our millers, from Sony, from Mumias. So right now, because we cannot tell which is which, because these guys get their product through Kismayu and smuggle it into Kenya, we cannot tell which is which. So what do we do right now? Stop consuming sugar, motherfuckers. Stop consuming soda. Stop consuming fruit juices. Not unless you're making them at home yourself. Stop consuming sugar products until we understand what is happening. Until now you're going to see things happening. Until these Somali oligarchs tell their agents, the DCI director, the NIS director, to stop abducting Kenyans, to stop killing Kenyans, to stop enforced disappearances of Kenyans. Because it's the money that is fueling, because it's the sugar money that has bought these people's positions. They paid 1 billion each to be appointed in those positions. So we have to stem this. You have to participate. You're not just an innocent bystander. You're not just an onlooker. You are actively aiding in your own oppression. So will you do something about it? Thank you very much. It's been real. Let's meet. Next week I'm going to be doing daily. So next week we are going to be doing this live stream daily because these things are becoming too serious. There's a lot happening and it cannot be ignored. It cannot go unchallenged. So from next week, I'm going to be here daily. Let's get this show on the road, man. Thank you to TikTokers who share my shit. Thank you to YouTubers. Thank you to everyone. We are all patriots. We all want the best for our country. Don't be guilt-tripped by idiots like Lilian Nganga Mutua who are trying to lecture us. You're lecturing us about our language. Where the fuck were you? Why didn't you ever talk about the killings, the abductions? You've never spoken about them because you live in a bubble. Last warning, Lilian Nganga, nimekupatia last warning. You do that shit again. Good night, guys.